Today. A lot of people have been asking me recently about AirPods. Okay, and it's funny actually. We'll talk something else I just remembered about AirPods is the way they first marketed it. Because when they first started marketing AirPods, okay, I'm sure you know wireless earbuds from Apple. Okay, now here's the thing: when they first started marketing these, it was very interesting because right away I knew putting a wireless a device that emits wireless frequencies, radiation, that's sitting in your ear canal, basically, okay, which is basically in your skull. I always thought that might not be a good idea, especially finding out that Wi-Fi might not be so good for you, that smart meters might not be so good for you. Frequencies in general can tend to throw you off a little bit. So finding out that this new thing is everyone's putting these wireless, earbuds into their ears, which is into their skull, and that's obviously no good. But when I started making posts about that, a bunch of posts, I had every other comment, it seems like, was someone saying, you're just broke, or you just don't have, you're just not balling, or whatever it was. So many of the comments were like saying like, oh, you just don't have enough money for them, or you're just this and that. And I'm thinking, whoa, because I'm not paying attention to all the latest trends. Some of them I'm aware of, but everyone was saying that basically it was a status symbol. So the way Apple marketed these AirPods was that basically they got a bunch of memes made and got these huge meme accounts on Instagram to post that basically if you don't have a AirPods, that you're broke or you don't have the money to get them. And I'm thinking, how did this happen? So it turns out that's exactly how Apple marketed their AirPods, was this way that says like, oh, you if you don't have $250 to spend on these, then you're broke. I'm thinking like, dude, $250, like what? Are you kidding me? So anyway, that's how they promoted AirPods. Now I just saw a bunch of people walking down, I just saw a couple runners with the wireless earpods in their ears, and I'm thinking, don't worry, I kicked him out, Cali outcasted. I'm just thinking, they're out on a run, breathing in fresh air, running by, beautiful trees. It's a nature run. And then unfortunately, they are frying their brain with wireless frequencies that goes right into their cranium. Okay, wireless radiation. We'll talk about that later because that is a very censored topic. I had a post actually deleted last year because I mentioned essentially the very strange situation that happens with ultrasound and why you might not want to ultrasound your children, or you might want to warn everyone around you to never get an ultrasound. But anyways, I won't tell you why. I'll have to tell you that on the Telegram because like I said, the post got deleted and they don't like you talking about certain things that everyone can kind of, have in common, And another thing that's very interesting is about ultrasound, and this is just, I'm going to talk about a little bit, is that do you have a birthmark? Most people have birthmarks. But I've talked to a number of people in the last couple of weeks that basically they have children that did not get ultrasounded, and they do not have a birthmark. So I'm asking you, were you ultrasounded? I was. I have a birthmark. Do you know anyone? Start asking around. Let's get to the bottom of this. Because if it's true that you have a birthmark because of an ultrasound, or at least you got an ultrasound, you got a birthmark, yada, yada, then that could be considered to be tissue damage, soft tissue damage. I'm just thinking there's many different ways that that we can consider this. But my point is that anything frequency related, you don't really want to talk about that much on Instagram because it's slightly sketchy. Because it affects us all, and it's actually we're nearing a situation where we do not have a trial. You know how you usually have a what's it called? Sorry, this guy's comment just threw me off. There's a pendant that is made out of the blood and is coated. What? Anyway, some random comments we get sometimes, but we're becoming to a situation where we do not have a control group for the effects that frequencies have on humanity in terms of Wi-Fi's everywhere, cell towers, frequencies, 4G, 5G, all this stuff is everywhere. And it's a very, very strange that we don't even have a control group. What happens after 30 years of being exposed to it versus what happens to someone 30 years of not exposed to it? Well, there's no one who's not exposed to it, especially with the new thing that Buddy wants to launch 40,000 satellites and blanket the entire Earth in Wi-Fi to be able to get us all connected. Oh, I'm sure you'd like us connected to this, artificial intelligence system. But anyways, the other thing, someone asked about tattoos, and it's funny because we did just talk about that on the last live feed, but maybe through the ether, you've tapped into the fact that we just mentioned yesterday or earlier today. Someone asked me, dude, I got a tattoo coming up. What do you think about tattoos? And to summarize what we talked about for almost 20 minutes on the last live feed is this. First things first, anytime that you put anything foreign into your body, I'm not talking about food, but whether it is let's just put it this way. If you're injecting ink into your skin, your body detects that as a foreign substance and does not want that in your body, does not want it in your body. And therefore, you're going to trigger an immune response. And that immune response can last for as long as you have the tattoo. Where your immune system is trying to fight off this foreign substance that's in your system. There's a lot of stories we don't hear about it. What happened? Tattoo gone wrong. Now, secondly, the issue is that all tattoo ink, even what someone brought up, on the last live feed, is the vegan ink, okay, which still contains many, many, many different toxins. Doesn't matter if an animal was harmed in it or not. It's still extremely toxic for your body. So the situation with that, you don't want to inject yourself with toxic chemicals and preservatives, not to mention fake dyes, okay, that you don't want in your system. Then the third thing is, and again, this is not a chirp to anyone who has tattoos. I know this could offend a lot of people because most people, 50% of people rather, at this point, have tattoos. So don't feel like I'm chirping you for this. I'm just going to say that tattoos do cause your body to get a dose of heavy metals. There is heavy metals in tattoo ink. So if you have tattoos or a bunch of them, like someone who's fully tatted has a decent amount of heavy metals in their system. And heavy metals go to your brain and they reduce brain function. They cut off the oxygen flow of the brain. They cut off circulation. And it's not good for you. Now, again, you may feel fine, that's good. And I'm not about to say that, everyone who gets tattoos is more likely to get sick. But the more tattoos you have, the more heavy metals. The more heavy metals, the weaker your immune system is. Statistically speaking, you could get sick more often if you have a whole bunch of tattoos. That's all. So don't think that you're doomed if you have a bunch of tattoos, because a lot of people do. Just know that you may want to rejuvenate and restore your system from what those can do to your body over time. Just like breast implants. Whoa, what are you talking about, dude? Breast implants too. That's a foreign substance. You wait till you hear the story. There's two things I'm going to talk about. One is laser eye surgery, that there's a website called LASIKcomplications.com. And it's a whole bunch of stories of what happens when you get laser eye surgery done. And it is not good. Then there's a whole bunch of other websites about what happens when you get breast implants removed, okay? And what happens during the time that you have them. And it is very, very dangerous. Very dangerous that they're not talking about. If, 60% of the cars or trucks that, Ford sells came back and caused all types of issues, they wouldn't be selling them. But for some reason, they're still able to sell. And there's no really warning about the damage and the dangers of breast implants. That's very, very strange. Now, the other thing is with tattoos is that anytime you get a tattoo, technically, your skin will not absorb sunlight in the same way from that spot ever again, unless, and again, I don't even know if the laser removal is a good idea either. Someone else do that research extra, make sure you know exactly what's going on if you are going to go and get the removal of the tattoo. But all I know is this. The more tattoos you have, the more detoxing, the more spring water you want to drink, the more superfoods you want to eat. Because otherwise, I'm not going to say that you're doomed. Of course, none of us are. Many of us have consumed many, many doses of fluoride, many, tons of GMO food, which we know has an effect on your DNA. But that doesn't mean that you're doomed. You can rejuvenate and restore. Someone just asked about, and if you have tattoos, Infinite Being said, I love my tattoos. If you have them, love them. Love them. Don't look at them and be like, damn, man. Don't think don't think negatively about them. That'll make it even worse in your system. I just want to have you have the information going forward before making decisions that they don't warn you about the potential effects of. If you have a tattoo, love your tattoo. And the power of the mind is very powerful. But as Aesthetics here said, I know tattoo ink is high in heavy metals. It is. It is. Lead, arsenic, all kinds of stuff that you don't want. And so the other thing that someone was just asking me about here, they said, talk about reptilians. They're asking about reptilians. Well, and this is off topic. We went from tattoos to ultrasound to this to that. We got all kinds of stuff going on. But reptilians, what's the deal with reptilians? Do they exist? Are they fake news? Is there a species of beings out there that is reptilian type humanoid that is that exists out there? Well, if you go to my friend, he's in Mexico right now. He just sent me a bunch of videos of one of the pyramids in Mexico. And there is serpent gods carved all over these pyramids. Serpent gods, a reptile god, all over these pyramids. Many pyramids. Then you have Angkor Wat, which is in Cambodia. Reptile gods all over their pyramids. So I say, were they all just fools? Were they all just making these things up? And that's just the tip of the iceberg, by the way. You also have almost every other culture in history talking about gigantic reptiles like dragons, which who knows? We'll talk about that later. I can't get into all this crazy stuff right now, but I will say this. Almost every single being that you think is mythical has a origin in fact. And the one thing I'll say about that is the gigantic network of dwarf houses, hobbit houses, carved out of stone, out of solid rock in Sardinia, And I put this video, it is in the link in my bio. If you scroll down, you will see a video of these people exploring this cavern, miniature windows, ancient, thousands of years old, windows, kitchen, bedroom, a network of little tunnels for little people built out of solid rock, hobbits, hobbits, whatever you want to call them, dwarfs. And they carved it out of stone with, some would say, laser precision. We don't really know much about our history, on Earth. It's been stolen from us. Most of it's hidden in the Vatican archives. Actually, that's probably even just a tiny fraction of what the true history of Earth is. Kay Benai said, dragons are real. Why do you think the Chinese calendar has all real animals and then a dragon? Yeah, it has dog, goat, rat, chicken, all kinds of stuff, and then it has dragon. That's the Chinese, their calendar action has been thousands of years old. They got dragons on there. Who knows? Take it with a grain of salt. Fairies, we'll talk about those later. Now, this person over here is asking a good question. And ML Kukis is 100% right with his statement over here on the Connecting Consciousness account. And anyway, with that being said, let me scroll through some of these comments here. This person asked a question, but is really just two words: solar panels ? I suppose he's asking me to expand upon solar panels. And last time I did talk about this, I did get a guy in here who sells solar panels who was, wanting me to retract my statements. But I will say this, I will say this. And by the way, that ancient Sardinia video of the dwarves carved into stone and all that, more information on that, because it is actually a censored topic. Anything that makes you question your true history, the history of the earth, that threatens the official narrative is a threat to the system, and they do not like it. That's why the Inner Earth documentary that I've shared several times has been deleted by YouTube dozens of times. It's being re-uploaded all the time. And it's about Inner Earth civilizations exist, and the person can prove it. And I watched it, and I gotta say, you might want to watch that video. This is live, by the way. Someone asked if this was replayed. That would be cool. If I could take some of my live feeds, record them, and then post them, but upload them live. So it appears live. And to the viewer, you would think I'm live. but I'm not. And that way, sometimes when I can't go live, boom, bang, bang, I can go live. I'll figure out a way to do that. But anyway, so solar panels. And Earth Girl 3.0 wants to know where the video is for that. Go to my link in my bio and join my private uncensored Telegram channel. To everyone who's asking now about that video, go join my Telegram and I will post the Inner Earth video. I've already posted it in there, so all I'm going to do is reply to the post so that it goes back up to the bottom of the feed and you can see it and click it and watch it. And that is a very well-made video, by the way. So anyways, solar panels. The situation with solar panels is this. It's great if you're off-grid and you want to bring some power to your house, for sure. It's great if you're camping and you want to be able to charge some devices. Yeah, solar panels all the way. But this is the only thing about solar panels that I have against them, okay? Or should I say for other sources of energy instead of that. Right now, they're saying that solar panels, they're the best things. They're green, okay? And I just want to tell you, while solar has many uses, and like I said, it's great to use them when you're camping, put them, if you're trying to be off grid, that's great. But they are not green. They absolutely are not green in the sense of the word of environmentally friendly. They are, in fact, not green in the slightest. They are the exact opposite of that. They require rare earth minerals to produce. The mines of those minerals are very toxic and can pollute groundwater significantly. And on top of that, you can't even really recycle them. They go to a landfill and they're toxic. So don't think that solar panels are green. And when they try to say that you're unsustainable for using oil, you have to use solar, and then they have that situation. They're going to mandate all this stuff and, the Great Reset. Just know that they are not green, okay? The other thing you want to watch out for is having solar panels on the roof of your house, which I know, of course, is the easiest place for many. It's like a big flat space, put a bunch of solar panels on it. But, and Brian Smith said, solar panels are produced in coal-powered factories in China. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just like, I know that, we'll talk about Tesla later on. But anyways, not Nikola Tesla, but Tesla Motors. Elon Musk. So the point is they're not green, and do not have them on your house if you're super close to them, because they do emit and accumulate a lot of radiation. If you had one of those those frequency analyzers, because you got a lot of cables coming off of them, and because they're generating heat in the sun and they get hot, they are emitting radiation. You do want to watch out for solar panels in that sense. And also, furthermore, the other thing you want to watch out for solar panels is that even if it's a sunny day, you know that there's two different types of solar panel installation, to my knowledge. One of them is you have a bunch of solar panels on your house and it runs into another smart meter, and you have to get another smart meter on your house. And that's the only way that's where your solar panels are gridded, okay? Where it's feeding that energy into the grid, and you will get paid based on if you produce more energy than you're using and the rest of that energy goes into the grid. Your local municipality, your city, whatever, will pay you based on that energy. Not much, but something. But if the power goes out, you cannot, of course, you cannot use your solar energy. Even though you have a solar panel, the sun's out, but the power's out, you will not be able to use your solar. Now, this may be anyone who has researched a lot into solar. This isn't news to you, but it was news to me that the only way you can actually power your house solar, and if the power goes out, you still have power, is if you have a power bank, which is another thing you don't really want in your garage or in your house, because they can, explode / catch on fire, just like the Tesla power banks have. So you do want to watch out for that. And the other thing is that's how you really get to be, off grid, is if your house is somewhere, you have solar panels. Someone asked, my solar panels are 100 feet away from my house. Hope that's far enough. Definitely. I would say, honestly, 50 feet away from your house. Anything is better than literally on the roof of your home. So, yes. This person said, please upload more to BitChute. It's hard for me to come at the right time sometimes. So, out of the last several live feeds, we got about 3 or 4 that have been uploaded to the BitChute channel. BitChute is an alternative to YouTube. You can check that out in the link in my bio as well. So that's the thing with solar panels. If you do it the wrong way, you got to put another smart meter on your property, and it's no good, especially if you already have one smart meter. And another thing I'm going to say is that I have a video, if you scroll down on my IGTVs, that shows you, or it's just a walkthrough of the procedure that I went through to get the smart meter off of my house. Okay, smart meter off the house, and it's on a post 100 or so feet away. And otherwise, I would have just got it replaced with an analog meter, but I got it replaced. I just got it moved because there's no option for that here. It's as if the government thinks that they can mandate the utility providers to strap a grenade to your house. There's nothing you can do about it. You should have the right to say what they strap to your house, and it's not too far-fetched to say that the smart meter has not as bad as a grenade, perhaps, but it's quite something you may want to look into, smart meters, and where your smart meter is on your house to make sure you're not that close to it. And if you are, and you're in an office building surrounded by 25 Wi-Fis every day, or you're in a city and there's literally 30 Wi-Fis on your phone when you're walking around all day, every day, I do want to tell you that if you live in a rural area, okay, with a significantly lower population, it's not a big city. You're surrounded by trees, you got nature. And then you go back to a city after a few months, let's say, you will feel the frequencies. You absolutely will feel the frequencies in a city from all the frequency, the wireless devices, all the smart meter, all the 5G, all the towers, all that stuff. You will feel the frequencies. But if you're in this city for a long time, as let's say a year. So when I lived in a city for a year, I no longer felt that strange feeling. And therefore, what I determined after researching further is that your brain, emits we know this, vibrational frequency, in between your heart and your brain that creates an electromagnetic field. These cell towers and other frequency generating devices, they emit an electromagnetic frequency that alters your own frequency. And just like if you take a tuning fork and you hit it, and then you bring it close to a tuning fork that hasn't been hit, the tuning fork that hasn't been hit starts to vibrate at the same resonance as the other one. Same thing with all these cell towers. You are a transmitter, an antenna, okay? And when you're in an area with a lot of these frequencies, your frequency is entrained to the frequency of that area. That's like when you're with 5 friends and they say you're the average net worth of your 5 friends. And that'll be your average net worth. That kind of thing is more of a physical, material claim of what happens, but basically you wear off on each other. That's because of energy. That's because of the frequency. So my point is that one day, if you get a chance and a lot of people are talking about getting land outside of a city, etc., you will feel the difference coming back to your city. And if you don't, at any case, I was researching a book by a guy named Fred Bell, who was assassinated, unfortunately, is no longer with us, but he's very aware. He has a lot of information in his books. But one of the things he mentioned is that, and his books were recent, they're up to date, is basically that your system can be altered by these frequencies, but it is much less susceptible to the effects of the frequency. And this is for everyone in here who's already on the train, and you can get to it, is if your body has the full matrix of minerals and you have the trace minerals, your body does not have the same effect being exposed to these frequencies than it does if you're depleted of these vital nutrients and these vital frequencies of light. Every single mineral is a different frequency of light, and every single one is incredibly important for your system. If you're in a city, and even if you're eating fully organic, you're only getting 10% of the minerals. I've said that many times, but it's true. So if you're in a city and you're not taking superfoods, you're not getting the full matrix of minerals, you will be more influenced by these nefarious frequencies. And that is for everyone in here who's already taking, for example, the Irish moss, the full matrix of minerals from chalk. I want you to know that you have a heightened line of defense against these devious plans to alter our vibrational frequency with these cell towers and whatnot. So that's the Irish moss for the full matrix of minerals. And then, of course, the other one that has the 40 trace minerals is the purified shilajit. Okay, so everyone taking that stuff, you do have a heightened defense against otherwise silent weapons that are being used in quiet wars, for quiet wars. Okay, silent weapons for quiet wars. That's what's going on. I didn't coin that term. I did not coin that term. But I will say that you will notice a difference. And that's probably a part of the reason why a ton of people who are taking chalk say they feel so much better. It's probably a partial because most people live in cities, and so that means a significant percentage of people getting chalk are in a city, and they're feeling totally different because their bodies are being rejuvenated and restored with frequencies of light. Remember that all of your DNA is light codes. Your DNA is literally codes of light, and minerals interact and build your DNA. So any DNA damage from GMOs, from fluoride, from chemtrails, all this stuff can be rejuvenated and restored. I'm a firm believer in that. I do not believe that we are, creatures of circumstance. We are creators of circumstance. You can create your own reality. You can boost your system naturally and restore and rejuvenate from these strange weapon systems that are deployed against humanity. Little Frank said, why'd the Irish moss color change? The color of Irish moss, just like the color of shilajit, it varies seasonally due to the fact that the color, the amount of sunlight that is shining upon at different times of year changes the color of the Irish moss. And the same thing with shilajit, the color varies. So that's the situation with color variances. And that also happens with many chalk supplements. They're natural ingredients and they can be considered to vary in color seasonally based on seasonal temperature and sunlight. So that was the solar panel question. And by the way, guys, do not get, and a lot of people have been asking about this, do not get any chalk supplements without using the codes. I don't want you paying full price when you could get a discount. All right. So make sure you DM me if you don't know what the codes are. And right now, the today only discount codes is 44 life for a 44% off lifetime discount, or 60 off for 60% off all orders store-wide. This is today only. After the deal closed yesterday, a lot of people were asking, they wanted to get what's the next coupon code. So Chalk agreed to open up the 60 off, which is absolutely insane, or the 44% off lifetime discount. Someone please write those two codes out for me. 44 life, 60 off, chalk.com in one comment. Thank you. So yes, just because I can't post it, remember? Trap Oodle said, isn't Chalk Daily the best deal? Chalk Daily is the number one supplement for men, 100%. The main ingredient in there is the purified shilajit, which is for men or women, but then it has 4 other adaptogenic compounds that have been clinically studied and agreed to have been considered throughout history to have a profound effect on the human mind, but specifically catered towards men because they have a energy believed by the ancient Ayurvedic scientists that it is specifically more of a herb for men. Different herbs and botanicals out there aren't, one size fits all. It varies. Different body types even. In Ayurveda, they have the different body types. Pata, Vena, I don't know them off the top of my head, but we all have a different body type. You see, there's about 3 of them. And different foods are better for people with these different body types. I'll keep you posted when I know more about that. So 44LIFE is the coupon code for the lifetime discount, 44% off lifetime. And then 60OFF is 60 off. That's for 60% off all orders store-wide. Remember too, someone just said they got a 3-month supply of the Irish moss. Amazing. Remember, the clinically studied benefits are based on 90 days. So you do want to take a consistent, people are taking the 90-day chalk challenge. The 90-day chalk challenge, getting it in their system for 3 months. That's what the clinical studies are based on. Of course, you're going to feel the benefits before, after, and during that, but based on 90 days. That the author that I mentioned, AKS 306, was Fred Bell. Okay, Fred Bell. Someone else asked a great question up here. Yes, but the most common is the daily action combo. For men, daily action combo, and for women is the Shilajit and 7 Wonders. Nay, if you can write that same thing again, but then just put .com after the chalk, that would be perfect. Then I'll pin your comment. So let me look at some of these other questions that are coming in here that are streamlining in. Can't answer any questions about that subject. You guys know what I'm talking about. And of course, yes, you can cancel the subscription anytime. You cancel anytime, but 44% off lifetime discount for as long as you want to go for. As long as you want to rejuvenate and restore your system for. And increase its defense against this strange ingredients that are that we are exposed to daily, even if you're eating fully organic. Let's see. Is Hollywood evil? Well, that's a pretty, good question. I don't think it's so easy to say that Hollywood is evil, but I would say that it is it is involved in evil things. Yes, 100%. 100%. It is involved in evil things. Is everyone in Hollywood evil? No. That's like saying everyone in the government is evil. That's not true. That's like saying every Freemason is evil. That's not true. It's, of course, vastly compartmentalized. It's compartmentalized, okay? So the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. That's how they're pushing this right now. It's the best way to control a massive amount of population is just control who gets to know what, and then you do not risk the risk of the population waking up fully. Is our phone draining our energy? Well, it can. It depends what you're using it for. It definitely depends what you're using it for. But also, you do want to put it on airplane mode if it's in your pocket. You do want to put it on airplane mode if it's on your bedside table. When you go to bed, you do want to turn the brightness down. You do want to download a third-party app or use the night shift mode to make the screen more amber, more red, so it's not frying your eyeballs with blue light, LED light. Very unfortunate for your system, very bad for your endocrine system. You do not produce melatonin if your eyeballs are exposed to blue light, aka bright lights. That's not dim, that's not contrasted. You can change the contrast to make it more red. If you're exposed to all those things, you are producing a fraction of the melatonin that you're supposed to produce. This is another weapon system that is deployed against humanity. That's why I take the chalk daily, because I had years of blue light exposure, devices, TV, this, that fry your endocrine system, that literally wear out your melatonin receptors. So this is why I'm rejuvenating and restoring my system with rare plant compounds, rare plant intelligence. The shilajit that's in the chalk daily, or the straight shilajit by itself, powerful plant compounds. And again, this isn't it's a 90-10 here, okay? You don't need to feel overwhelmed about all the different weapons systems that are deployed against humanity. It's one step at a time. One step at a time. Don't feel overwhelmed. Someone else up here said, I live in Hollywood. It's a very tranquil city. No, I'm sure it is. Like, there's a lot of places that there's evil in, but it's also very beautiful. And that's like saying, most cities in the world, there is illegal trafficking rings going on underneath the city in tunnels. That's a fact. And, that's happening in some of the most beautiful, peaceful cities in the world. But underground, strange things, and likely even on the streets, strange things are going on that are very devious and evil. So that may have caught someone off guard. Like, dude, that's kind of off topic, man. What the hell are you talking about? I don't even want to think about it. Neither do I. Don't want to think about it. It is happening, though, unfortunately. Why don't we track and trace those people who are engaged in trafficking instead of tracking and tracing healthy people? Is one bottle of chalk a 90-day supply? No. Each chalk supplement, each bottle, is a month supply. However, there's varying, as you can see, different size. This is 3 capsules a day is a recommended dose, and this is 2 capsules a day recommended dose. So different amounts, but all based on a month's supply. And exactly as Kukis said, you can't let a few bad apples ruin the whole tree. Exactly. A lot of people roast a lot of parts of California and whatnot, and it's like, yes, the politics there, and yes, there's certain restrictions and regulations there that are whack, but of course, the people, organizations of folks that are implementing these evil things do not represent the will of the people who live in those areas. So how's there 2 of these at once? Different, multiple phones, brother, multiple phones, all connected to Ethernet, so the Wi-Fi, the frequencies are not frying the cranium. So yes, exactly. Very good question. The fight on that is non-existent, homeboy RD. The fight on that is non-existent. It's just not a thing. You're going to go against the FDA, which is a limitless budget. Very, very strange. Hard to deal with that. So we'll have to do it collectively. I don't know. I don't have all the answers for that. Suni said, I'm on my 4th month and loving chalk. Wow. So you've even surpassed the 90-day. Remember the 90-day chalk challenge. If anyone takes chalk, if you're taking, for example, the daily in action for 90 days, or if you're taking the Shilajit and 7 Wonders for 90 days, Shilajit and 7 Wonders is a popular combination for women, although it's not specifically. And then the daily action is the one that's most popular for men, but the only chalk supplement specifically for men is the daily. If you take those for 90 days, you will feel different. You will feel mental clarity come to you. You will feel more concentration. You'll feel focused. You'll have better memory, clinically studied to support memory. You'll have more energy, stamina, motivation. All these things are tied together with your endocrine system, with hormone metabolism, and the ingredients in the daily, the purified children in itself. These have been clinically studied to support optimization of the endocrine system. This is hormone metabolism. Very, very powerful. Remember, code 44LIFE for a 44% off lifetime discount on any subscription or bundle, or code 60OFF for 60% off all orders store-wide. Is Daily Action and 2.0 a good combination for men? Absolutely. That's one of the most powerful and one of the most popular, Daily Action and Tomcat. We'll talk about the clinical studies in a little bit. Someone said, I turned my Wi-Fi down to 2.4 gigahertz. How do I change to Ethernet? I have a video in my IGTVs on my main account. You can scroll down that says it shows you how to use the internet without Wi-Fi. How to use the internet without Wi-Fi. That's what I'm doing right now. And I will show you how to do that if you go to the my IGTVs and scroll down. Thank you, Christina. That's exactly how the codes are written, and that's the website, chalk.com. WhatsApp 0346. DM me on my main account. I'll unhide you from the main, but when you ask a question sideways like that, I gotta lay down, the law, man. Someone said that Irish moss counteracts radiation. I'm not sure if that is true, but I wouldn't be surprised the power of superfoods to your system. I would not be surprised if half of the benefits of some of these things we don't even know the full range of benefits because there's such little and limited clinical trials and studies and whatnot. The other thing, that is the Irish moss. Remember, the full matrix of minerals to help build and restore and rejuvenate DNA and healthy cellular function throughout the body. Abel the Messiah said, what's your main Instagram? You're on it, big guy. You are on the main account. So you go to my IGTVs, you'll see a tab. Scroll down, you'll see a video that says how to use the internet without Wi-Fi. What is the most healthy music to listen to? I would say anything that's 432 hertz. 432 hertz, okay? Very, very powerful. Any reviews / stories about women supporting their health with chalk supplements? Yes. To answer your question, NBA Art Studio, there's over 2,000 third-party verified 5-star reviews in the story highlights that Get Chalk. So definitely go and have a read of those. Many of them mention what you mentioned, but I can't necessarily mention the specific things you said because that would not be compliant. We got to be compliant, and I can, if you DM me on my main account or that account, I can answer your question more accurately. So yes, good question. What do you recommend for energy for men? Chalk daily, boom, bang, bing, or I should say daily, yes, because the Shilajit, but don't forget, or should I say, remember, the all-day natural energy for men or women, the Action 2.0 with clinically studied rhodiola, with clinically studied Elevate TP in here, or S7 Superfood Blend, one of the most powerful supplements in the natural world, and it has beetroot extract in it, which increases blood oxygen content and nutrient delivery throughout your body. I love that. This is one of the best chalk supplements by far, Action 2.0. Make sure you take your chalk supplements. I prefer to take them in the morning with a light breakfast. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Then you won't be, you'll have a Shilajit burp here and there. You may be tasting the Irish moss here and there, but the best way to take this stuff is definitely in the non-GMO veggie caps. Take it down, slug it back with some water, with a breakfast, you'll be feeling amazing. When those nutrients kick in, when you get those micronutrients fueling your cells, you will see what all the fuss is about. Irish moss neutralizes harmful free radicals, which happen because of radiation. Wow, Nay429. You're educating me here. That is an amazing thing. I did not even know that. Suni said, I took 2 Shilajit in the morning before all the rest and actually forgot to drink coffee. Wow. Hey, it is all-day natural energy. It is all-day natural energy. That is for sure. So remember that this is the today only discount. The lifetime, 44% off lifetime discount. Those always cap extremely fast because people fill up in those slots and they go like crazy. And then the other code is, of course, the 60 off, 60 OFF for 60% off all orders store-wide. Chalk does ship worldwide, to answer WhatsApp 0346. They do ship worldwide. The best thing to do if you're overseas would be to use the code 60OFF and get a multi-month supply. Multi-month supply, 90-day supply, use the code 60OFF. That is an absolutely insane deal. And with that, you're going to be able to take the 90-day chalk challenge. Thank you, Christina. It is today only. They're going to be capping the deal likely in probably 6 to 12 hours. course. Love Caden said, when's the women's daily coming? That is essentially the purified Shilajit. Memory, brain function, energy levels, hormone metabolism, purified Shilajit, men or women. And like I said, it's the main ingredient in the Chalk Daily. Nene said, take your Irish moss and Shilajit away from every other... I don't know about that. Just because I can't read some of those words out loud, I got to be real careful. With that being said, make sure you join my private uncensored Telegram channel. I'm sending out an email blast tonight. So anyone who's not subscribed, you're going to miss out on this email blast that's going out. It's a newsletter. It's short and sweet. Subscribe to add your email. Okay, subscribe, and then you will get this newsletter. You go to connectingconsciousness.com. Connectingconsciousness.com. Thank you, Go Effin, for answering that question. I will answer. Sometimes I'll answer that as well. Sometimes I don't. But you can DM me any questions as well for any of these things. People are asking, what's the best for this? Where do you get that? Definitely DM me, and I'll take any questions. And with that being said, connectingconsciousness.com, and go to my private uncensored Telegram channel to be notified ahead of the rest. All right, ahead of the rest. We got to stay in communication during this literal war against humanity. So with that being said, talk soon, everyone. Much love, great live feed, and I will see you soon, all right? I appreciate all you guys answering questions for me as well. We'll talk soon.